What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Fresh Review. Now you're new to the channel. What we do here is we do a football video every Friday. So this Friday we're doing the NFL draft. Last Friday we did the AFC NFC Championship game video and the Super Bowl. Next Friday we're doing top 25 games of the 2024 NFL season. So if you're interested in any of those videos, be sure to subscribe. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the NFL draft. We're going to go in chronological order. I'm going to give like a little draft grade on each player and a little opinion on what I believe they will or will not be. So let's go ahead and start with number one, Cam Ward, quarterback from Miami, again drafted to the Tennessee Titans. Kind of what you would expect. Tennessee takes a quarterback here. Now there were talks of perhaps they go best player available, and that would be a lot of people in opinion Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter go on the defensive side, and then solidify the defense, and then maybe you take a quarterback in the second round, or maybe you just throw this season and take a quarterback next season. You join in the Archie Manning sweepstakes. They take Cam Ward, who they hope is their franchise quarterback, and I think Cam Ward will be a solid quarterback. I liked him coming out of Miami. I think he can do it all. He got the arm talent, the accuracy, decent enough mobility to extend plays. So I like Cam Ward a lot. No problem there with Cam Ward going number one. But now we got the moment of the draft. And you see our cover athlete, the best person I believe in the draft, the generational talent. I think is the lead on both ends. He might not be generational on both ends, right? And that's something I do want to say. I don't think he's going to be Pat Surtain at corner or Jamar Chase at wideout. But there's gonna be some games where he's really like that. Jamar Chase at wideout and Pat Surtain at corner, where it's like, yo, you're gonna look at the stat line, be like, this man got a pick. He got 2 receiving TDs, 100 receiving yards, 7 catches. Like, it's gonna be a crazy stat line. So, I think he does play both positions in the NFL level, especially since the Jaguars traded up to get him. I don't think you'll trade up just to draft somebody to play wideout or trade up just to draft somebody to play corner. When you kind of just drafted a wide receiver or a corner at your fifth overall pick, you really wanted to. Kind of been early for a corner, but Ted McMillan around that area when I've been too wild. But nevertheless, Jaguars trade up with the Browns, move from number 5 to number 2 to get who I believe is the best player in this draft. Um, Potential Hall of Famer. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think Travis Hunter, if he can stay healthy, because it's going to be a lot to ask for somebody to play 100 snaps every Sunday. It's already a lot to ask for it on Saturday. Now it's Sunday where the competition is tougher, more physical. Ah, man. You're going to get a welcome to the NFL moment every game on both sides of the ball. That's a whole lot of welcome to the NFL moments in one season. But Jaguars got Travis Hunter. I look forward to seeing him playing both sides, and I think he will be the best player in this draft class. Now we're going to Abdul Carter, edge rusher from Penn State. He went to the New York Giants at number 3. Micah Parsons 2.0 type stuff. Similar build, stature, and all that. Elite freak and speed. I don't think he's that refined of a pass rusher and stuff, but he's going to produce. I like this pick by the Giants. Another best player available type thing. Getting him at 3 is great because you can make a case the guy went number 1 even. So getting him at number 3, the Giants got to be happy about that. Shout out to the Giants for making this pick. That defense is looking solidified now. That defense in New York is looking scary. Now, the problem with New York is they still got to play the Cowboys, Eagles, and Commanders, so they're probably going to finish last in the division. But the defense is looking nice. Now we go on to the New England Patriots. They drafted Will Campbell, offensive tackle from LSU. Short arm guy, right? No, I'm kidding. Will Campbell, best tackle in the draft class, in my opinion. A lot of people talk about the measurements and all that, but you're at LSU. You had a prolific passing offenses you're a part of. You're a reason why they're prolific. You have, bro. You're in the SEC, so you're going up against some of the best pass rushers and stuff in the conference. And he's not allowing many sacks, if any sacks. So Will Campbell liked the pick there. Now we're going to number 5. Number 5 is the Cleveland Browns. They were originally number 2. They traded back and got some other picks plus this pick from Jacksonville, and they go Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan. Pairing him up with Myles Garrett will be interesting. I think both of them will be a force on that defensive line. The problem I have with it is it didn't really tingle my loins. Right? I'm like, defensive line pick. Cleveland got so many holes. Well, I'm actually not mad they didn't shoot for the moon here and like take a Sanders. And as I actually record this, Shedeur Sanders, I think the second round just ended, and he has not been drafted yet. So as I record this, I believe the second round has just ended. He has not been drafted yet. A lot of people, including myself, had him going to the Browns, maybe at 5. Uh, Worst case scenario, I saw more and more stuff coming out. He could have slid out the first round. I'm like, he slides out the first round. He probably get taken early second by the Browns. The Saints drafted Tyler Shaw. Shaw. I don't know how you say this man's name. But they drafted him in the second round over Shedeur Sanders, and that is a crazy shot. Cause I didn't hear any Tyler Shoot, however you say his name, any buzz until like a week before the draft. So this man kind of came out of nowhere, and then he goes before somebody that was touted as a top 10 pick, lock it in, all season long. So crazy. But granted, I did hear Shador had bad personality during the interview and stuff like that. Seemed arrogant, brash, threw his teammates under the bus. So, GMs are going to look at stuff like that and whatever the case may be. But Cleveland Browns are going to talk about them again. Their defensive tackle here to pair with Myles Garrett. Like I said, I thought they probably went quarterback, but when you think about it, they are in a rebuilding phase because that Deshaun Watson contract is so bad. I think they should just plug in, get pieces everywhere, and then get the quarterback maybe a year or two from now, and then see what you can do from there. So not a bad pick here by Cleveland by any means. Now we get Ashton Genty, the Las Vegas Raider, the Heisman finalist, best running back of the draft class, best running back season in a while last year. He was terrific for Boise State. He goes to the Raiders, line him up with Pete Carroll, Geno Smith. They're going to run the ball. They are definitely going to run the ball, and I expect for that offense to be really solid, in my opinion. So I do like that pick by the Raiders. Ashton Genty, workhorse running back. He's going to be, I'm going to say 1,500 total yards his first season. And that's a lot. I forgot how much Bijan got, but I'm not sure if Bijan got that his rookie year. Granted, Bijan had a larger split. He is sharing a lot more with Tyler Algier. I don't know who Genty would be sharing with, but 1,500 yards total scrimmage yards for a rookie season, I think is nice. Just under 100 yards per game, be about 90 or so. But I expect big things for Ashton Genty. I definitely do. Now we got the New York Jets. They go Armand Membu, offensive tackle from Missouri. Don't know too much about him, but a deep offensive tackle to replace Tyron Smith, who I believe just retired. So I feel like they probably did need an O-line. Definitely need to get younger. You can't ever go wrong with O-line picks. I'm an Eagle fan. So we've been building the trenches offensively and defensively for years, and it has definitely paid off. So a lot of teams are trying to do the same thing. Can't go wrong. You get an elite tackle that could be there for 10 plus years. You look at somebody like Lane Johnson, who we drafted early, and he's still there for us producing. Even Jason Kelsey, didn't draft him necessarily in the first round or anything, but Case Kelsey would be another example. Look at somebody like Joe Alt, who the Chargers just took last year, and like, wow, you think he's going to be great for another 10 plus years. So, so many great offensive linemen go early, and this is probably going to be another great one. Now we got the Carolina Panthers taking Teteroa McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona. Thought this was a really good pick by them. It was interesting, though, because this is something I mocked in a lot of my stuff earlier, but then Ted McMillan said something like, I really don't watch film or anything, so I'm like, oh, all right, this man probably just dropped his stock, but no. He still goes number 8 to Carolina. So this is like one of my early mock draft landing spots for Tet. And then after he said that film comment, I kind of started dropping him. But nope. GM said, Shedeur, you can't be egotistical. But Tet, you ain't got to watch film, bro. We still rock with you. So Tet McMillan, I think, going to be very similar to like a Drake London. I think got elite size, maybe even a Mike Evans. Elite size, can high point the ball, make contested catches. I think his route running is a little underrated, but of course he got great hands, and I like Ted McMillan a whole lot here. So Bryce Young gets a weapon. We see what Bryce Young can do now. They keep trying to give this man weapons after weapons. They took Leggett last year. Now they take Teteroa and McMillan this year. We see what Bryce Young can turn it around, have his best season, because he was really good down the stretch of last season, especially after returning from being benched. Now we go on to number 9. Calvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle from Texas. Another O-line pick, can't go wrong with it. Saints are in a weird spot because, like I said, they took a quarterback in the second round. I thought they had took Shedeur here. Then you get them in the second round. I'm like, oh, that's a terrific steal. They go offensive line. They go quarterback. Saints are just gonna be a bad team for a while, in my opinion, because I think a lot of their contracts are so bad and they're paying for it drastically. And Derek Carr, well, I thought was a good quarterback before, like a few years back when he was first in Oakland and stuff, and then broke his leg and then never really been the same too much. Got into the playoffs that 1 year, a couple years after he broke his leg. But other than that, Derek Carr, I just don't think is gonna be good enough to lead this team to the playoffs in a competitive NFC conference. But that's the Saints. They get an O line, can't go wrong with the pick. Bears, pick number 10. They come back with Colston Loveland. Interesting pick here. Tight end. See, I expected the Bears. Well, no, I'm lying. I expected the first tight end to go to be Tyler Warren. But they go Colston Loveland here. I think Loveland might be a better blocker. Loveland seemed like the tight end one going into this draft class. Well, going back to last year. But Tyler Warren had a breakout year in his final year of college. So now Tyler Warren, are you going to draft somebody that was, producing earlier in their career and producing longer? Or are you going to draft the person that just had a breakout year, but that breakout year is better than anything Colston Loveland did, statistically speaking? They go Colston Loveland here. I'm not mad with either of these tight end picks, though, because I think both tight ends are going to be really good. So, not mad at that whatsoever by the Bears. We've seen how Ben Johnson utilized Sam Laporta. Can you do the same thing with Colston Loveland here? And it's interesting for Cole Kmet because Cole Kmet might be gone next year or something. There might be a way they can get out his contract. Or I'm not sure exactly because I thought Cole Kmet was going to have a really good year with Ben Johnson. But Ben Johnson said, nah, I don't think you it, buddy. Let me go get drafted one in the first round. So that's that for the Bears. Now we're going on to the 49ers. San Fran drafts Mykel Williams at pick number 11, edge rusher from Georgia. Great pick. As an Eagle fan, what we've been doing mainly just drafting Alabama offensive players, Georgia defenders. So I hate seeing Georgia defenders go. Cause I'm like, dang it. Oh my goodness. God, been an Eagle. Georgia defenders, man. SEC defense. You love to see it. Championship pedigree. Great edge rusher. Complete move package. Pair him on the other side of Nick Bosa. It's going to be a nightmare for a lot of teams in this league. Now we go to number 12. The Dallas Cowboys drafted Tyler Booker, guard from Alabama, offensive lineman for Alabama. We got Landon Dickerson. Cowboys got Dallas. Dallas has Tyler Booker. They're trying to bite our swag, right? The Cowboys. Jerry Jones really doesn't know what he's doing. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought this was a good pick, by the way, but I'm like, Jerry Jones really doesn't know what he's doing. So y'all can make a good pick in the first round. Y'all gotta make a bad pick somewhere later down the line. But Cowboys get an O lineman to replace Zach Martin, who has retired. Zach Martin, one of the best offensive linemen of all time, should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Will be a Hall of Famer. I'd be shocked that he doesn't make it at all, but should be first ballot. We'll have to wait and see. Really tough to get in the NFL. Not as tough as it is to get into baseball, but NFL is definitely super tough. Tougher than basketball. But now we're going to pick number 13. The Miami Dolphins, they draft Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle from Michigan. So you see why Michigan won that national championship a couple years ago. These boys were a force in the middle for their defensive line. Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham, they both go in the top 15. Top 13 to be a little bit more specific. But Miami Dolphins, they bolster their D-line. Miami's in an interesting spot. Because I forgot who said it. Maybe it was Chris Broussard. I know Chris Broussard, an analyst from Fox Sports, he called them like break dancers and stuff. They're really a finesse type team. They're not physical. They got this big boy here. Maybe they're trying to turn the program around, change the culture, make it a physical bunch because this is what this guy's going to bring to the squad. He's going to bring some physicality. Now, the problem with Miami, like I said, they're a finesse squad. So you look at their offense and some of their defense. Not really physical, hard nose, smash mouth style football. And when you're a warm weather team, that can work in the early months, but come December, come January, you're going to get exposed bad. And so, I'm not really too worried about Miami for the future prospect until they at least change how they, their culture and their style of play. Become a little bit more hard nose, smash mouth. But that's Miami taking Kenneth Grant. No problem there. Now we got the Colts taking Tyler Warren, who I believe will be the best tight end of this draft class. I think Tyler Warren his breakout year was sensational. I watching the highlights. The way they were giving him so many touches remind me of Brock Bowers, where Brock Bowers was just getting manufactured touches. Have him run, have him line up here, give him some tight end reverses and stuff. Just get the ball in Brock Bowers' hands. Now that's what they did with Tyler Warren in Penn State, and they got him to the playoffs and gave him a good run in the playoffs. So Penn State, man, shout out to them boys, Tyler Warren and Abdul Carter, two great ballers there. I think would be the best at their position in their draft class. And now we go on to the Atlanta Falcons. They drafted Jalen Walker, linebacker from Georgia. Great pick here by the Atlanta Falcons. He keep the kid in state. So he goes from the Georgia Bulldogs to the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Georgia Bulldogs play in Atlanta. I could be wrong. I'm not sure exactly where they play, but keep them in state. Great pick here by the Atlanta Falcons because their offense to me has multiple playmakers. You're right. You got Michael Penix now at quarterback. You still got Kirk Cousins there, so he could be a backup if push comes to shove. We have to see if Kirk has anything left, but Michael Penix will get the start. You got Bijan, terrific running back. You got Tyler Algier still there, to my knowledge, as a backup running back. He could still chip in when needed. But then you look at the wideouts. You got Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts at tight end. They still got playmakers, solid O-line. One of the most underrated O-lines in the league, in my opinion. I definitely think they're really good. Then all you got to do basically get your defense up, and they could definitely make a playoff bid, win their division even. So we have to see what the Atlanta Falcons do. Now we go on to our next team, the Arizona Cardinals. They drafted Walter Nolan, defensive tackle from Ole Miss. Another defensive tackle goes. He's third one. Cardinals build up their defense. Cardinals were similar to the Falcons. They were kind of doing better earlier in the season, then lost some games down the stretch, and then that basically got them eliminated from playoff contention with a couple weeks left. Could have won their division. It looked like they could have at maybe week 12 or so. Like, oh, they could probably win it, and then just didn't go as planned. But they bolster their defense here. Offensively, they got Marvin Harrison Jr., they got Trey McBride, they got Kyler, James Conner. They drafted Trey Benson last year. So, I expected for them to probably go O-line or defense here. They decided to go defense. Not a bad pick here by the Arizona Cardinals. Now, we got Cincinnati Bengals. I had a friend talking about what the Bengals drafted running back. As a Chase Brown owner, I had to kill the Bengals. It made no sense to pay your wide receivers and quarterbacks nearly half their budget of your team, half the salary cap, and then draft another running back. Like, your running back you have in Chase Brown is solid enough. Ride out with him. I'd be surprised if the Bengals drafted a running back. Thankfully, they didn't do it here. That had been a blunder in my opinion. They drafted Shamar Stewart, edge from Texas A&M. Now, this is interesting. Is he there to complement Trey Henderson, be on the other side of Trey Henderson? And I think Shamar Stewart would be a little bit better in the run-stopping department. Or is he there to replace Trey Henderson? Will they be able to pay Trey? That's the question that comes to mind here. And we're going to wait and see exactly what this pick was meant to be. Was it meant to be the replacement or the complement? Now, that's the $1 million question. Now we're going to Seattle. They draft Gray Zabel, guard from North Dakota State. Interesting pick here. I'm not sure how exactly guards from or offensive linemen from FCS schools tend to do. And I haven't really watched any film on this guy or anything, so I can't really say if he's going to be good or bad. I kind of been just saying everybody's going to be good for the most part. This guy I don't know about, but I mean, it's an offensive lineman in round one. They tend to do good. But like I say, he comes from an FCS school. I hope he's good. Of course, you want all these kids to kind of succeed. But we go on to our next pick, where I can say I have watched. And that is Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver from Ohio State. And Ohio State is one of the wide receiver factories, right? LSU, I think, would be number one. But Ohio State's right behind them at number two. You are a wide receiver from Ohio State. You go to the NFL, chances are you will pan out. You will produce, especially you produce to Ohio State. Their production does seem to translate and transition really well to the NFL. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers drafted him at pick number 19. I like the player. I don't really understand the pick too much. I remember when the Seahawks drafted JSN, I understood it because you had JSN be your third wide receiver. So the logic is DK Metcalf and Lockett will probably start. JSN will continue to develop some reps behind him. When Lockett ages out, JSN will replace him, right, and then become the number 2 wide receiver. In this case, Seattle even traded DK, so JSN is now the number 1. We go look at the Bears last year, for example. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen. You draft Rome Odunze. You say, all right, I like this talented wide receiver. He can be the 3rd wide receiver, develop behind these 2 veteran wideouts. When Keenan Allen ages out, Rome can replace him, become the number 2 wideout, right? This right here is crazy to me because Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are both kind of old, and Chris Godwin's coming off that bad injury he had last year. He had another injury before, but you pay both your wideouts. You drafted Jalen McMillan, and granted, you didn't spend early draft capital on him. I believe he went round 4, but Jalen McMillan, no, when he was healthy, towards the end of the year, he definitely was producing. So he was scoring touchdowns and stuff. So I'm like, all right, Jalen McMillan can be your 3rd wideout. You draft Emeka Egbuka. So who will be your 3rd wideout? Will it be McMillan? Will it be Egbuka? It's probably gonna be Egbuka. So it's like now you stunt McMillan's progress until Mike Evans retires, or until you trade Chris Godwin or he retires, or whatever the case may be. Very interesting pick here by the Buccaneers. I don't think they needed another wide receiver, but what I will say is Baker Mayfield's stock is to the moon. Because Baker Mayfield can definitely will and deal and spread the ball around to everybody. So I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is going to be a really good offense, really entertaining to watch. I like their running backs. I like their old line. Man, I think they should have won defense here. But they go Emeka Egbuka. Like I said, like the player, not too fond of the situation. Now we go to Denver Broncos. They drafted the number 1 corner. Well, the first corner, I mean. I don't think he's number 1. Personally, number 1 to me is Will Johnson or Travis Hunter. I'd probably say Will Johnson, but Will Johnson got injuries, so that's a concern. He got drafted in round 2. But Jahdae Barron, cornerback from Texas, gets drafted here to the Denver Broncos. Amazing pick here by the Broncos. You remember last year they played the Cincinnati Bengals, if I'm not mistaken, and they got lit up. They got torched. Maybe it was the Bengals, maybe it was the Chargers. Can't remember what team. Maybe it was a different team. But Levi Wallace was the cornerback on the opposite side of Patrick Surtain, and Patrick Surtain Defensive Player of the Year. They're not throwing to Patrick Surtain. So when I say they just bullied and went at this man Levi Wallace, and now that I think of it, I think of the Cleveland Browns game where Jameis threw for like nearly 500 yards on him. Levi Wallace again cooked. Jerry Jeudy revenge game was going crazy. I thought Jerry Jeudy was going to be our cover athlete that week. Nevertheless, though, they get a corner here that's elite speed, great recovery. Man, like this pick a lot by the Denver Broncos. Definitely do. Pair him on the other side, Patrick Surtain. You got 2 shutdown corners, maybe the best cornerback duo in the league. We'll have to wait and see. Love this pick here by Denver, though. Now we go look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought they were going to take a quarterback here. I was mistaken. They don't take Sanders. They don't take Dart. They take, my bad, let me go look real quick. They take Derek Harmon, defensive tackle from Oregon. Didn't know too much about him, so I won't even lie to you. But defensive tackle, Oregon, I believe he's a run stopper. Not sure if he's a power mover or anything like that. In my opinion, if they did draft a defensive tackle, which they did, run stopper would be the best one because you got T.J. Watt on the edge, who's already dominant. Now, I think T.J. Watt only downfall is, you could kind of run at him or, he's solid at the run game if it's a stretch, but, you run right at him, you could block him better, in my opinion. But I think you could get a run stopper to stop the middle and stuff like that. That could definitely help that Pittsburgh defense a lot. Now we go on to the Los Angeles Chargers, and I absolutely love this pick. I'm in a dynasty draft with some of my boys, and, the rookie draft matters a lot. Marion Hampton, pick number 22 to the Los Angeles Chargers. Give this running back who's gone over 1,500 rushing yards back-to-back years. You put this running back in the Jim Harbaugh system, and Jim Harbaugh will feed this man. The Los Angeles Chargers, really high-powered offense, especially in the regular season. We don't talk about them in the postseason or anything. But you saw what Austin Eckler did there. Of course, different regime and all that. But you can catch, which Amar Hampton can. Justin Herbert will throw the ball to you. Because like I said, the Austin Eckler error, he has no problem checking down if needed. So Hampton can catch. I don't think he's going to get nearly as many catches as Eckler, but he's going to get more touches, right? 'Cause he can handle a full workload without a doubt. Amarion Hampton, love this pick here, running behind that elite O line. J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards weren't nearly as good as they were in the Ravens days before all the injuries, and they were still looking really good for the Chargers. Now you get an actual talented running back that's healthy, not riddled with injuries and stuff. Oh my goodness, can't wait to see what this man does. I'm gonna definitely take him with the 102 in our dynasty draft. Now we're going on to pick number 23, the Green Bay Packers, the team that's hosting the NFL draft. They drafted wide receiver from Texas, Matthew Golden. Now I'm not a huge Matthew Golden fan. I like him more than Isaiah Bond, though, without a doubt. But Matthew Golden goes here at pick number 23, wide receiver from Texas. Uh, Packers need a wide receiver, a true number one wideout. I'm not sure this is the guy. Now, I could be wrong. We could come back to this video years later and be like, oh, this man doubted Matthew Golden. Yes, I am doubting Matthew Golden to be the number one wideout for the Green Bay Packers. Granted, he will have a great chance to do so with Christian Watson being out for the first part of the year with a torn ACL. He tore his ACL super late into the season last year. You expect for him to miss some time going into the upcoming season. So Golden will be competing with Romeo Dobbs, Dontavius Wicks, and Jaden Reed. I think the only one that I think Dontavius Wicks is the one that misses out. But I think the only one that's really gonna be the biggest concern would be Jaden Reed. But they play different roles, so uh, we have to see. Can Golden become that number one wideout in this offense in Green Bay? He's coming from Texas, going up to a cold weather environment. We're gonna have to see. He definitely will have the opportunity, though. We'll see what they can do there. Now we're going on to pick number 24. The Minnesota Vikings drafted Donovan Jackson, guard from Ohio State. Good pick here by the Vikings. You saw what happened last year. They lost their game to the Rams because that pressure was just killing Sam Darnold. And so they get an O-lineman here, bolster their O-line. I have a friend that's a Viking fan and an Ohio State fan, so I'm pretty sure he is hyped about this pick. Vikings drafted an O-lineman from the national champions that was blocking for a solid passing attack, but really great running attack. Two-headed monsters and Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson. So now we go on to pick number 25, the New York Giants. They trade up. Houston was a little bit farther back. The Giants trade up, and they draft a quarterback here at pick number 25. Is it going to be Shedeur Sanders? Is it going to be Jackson Dart? And they take Jackson Dart. So, surprise here, but I remember when the pick was in and it showed the Sanders family, they kind of didn't look all enthusiastic. Then it showed the Jackson Dart family, and they're high-fiving, smiling, posing with each other, taking pictures and all that. So I'm like, oh, I think it's Dart that's drafted. And then lo and behold, they read off the name, and it is, in fact, Jackson Dart. So, surprised to see Sanders did not make out the first, he actually made out the first round. Crazy slide, in my opinion. But maybe the rumors, like we said earlier, about the interview and the personality and the attitude, maybe all that did come with some merit. A lot of times you just take it with a grain of salt when it comes to this close to draft day. But maybe it was true. Rubbed people the wrong way. Now, oh, by the way, Jackson Dart to the Giants. Things going to be great. He gets to learn a year or two even behind Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. I think that's going to be great for him. I expect for him to be really good because of that learning. And he had to go and play right away. I would not expect it, but because he gets to sit a year or two behind those two veteran quarterbacks, I expect for him to definitely learn a lot. Now, we're going on to the Atlanta Falcons. They traded up, by the way, so we get back-to-back trades. They trade with the LA Rams, and they get James Pierce, edge rusher from Tennessee. I wanted him in Philly so bad. I'm like, can we get James Pierce? No, the Falcons, they trade up and they snipe us. They know we're finna get them. They know. What a great pick here by the Atlanta Falcons. Keep bolstering that defense. Like I said, they drafted a linebacker from Georgia earlier. Now they go right back to the SEC, draft an edge rusher from Tennessee. I think James Pierce is going to be great. Terrific to get off the line. Very quick timing of the snap. I think it's going to be great. Now, the pick that broke my heart the most, this is someone that I wanted. Because we let CJ go, our safety. That every time he's with us, he gets 6 interceptions. He's an absolute playmaker. We let him go. Can we replace him with a safety? Can we get a safety in free agency? maybe not, maybe who knows. Can we get a safety in the draft? And we can't. I want one guy, Malachi Starks. Can we get him? No, because the Ravens get him. They get Malachi Starks to put on the other side of Kyle Hamilton. And I think the Ravens have now just made the best safety duo in the league. Love this pick by the Ravens. Hate it and love it. It's bittersweet. Love it as an NFL fan. Hate it as an Eagle fan. Dang you, Ravens. Dang you. Now we go on to pick number 28. We get Tyleek Williams, the Ohio State guy that never won in Michigan. He has to go to the Detroit Lions. So he never won in Michigan or against Michigan. Now he goes to the Detroit Lions. Can he win in Michigan now? That will be the story of his career. All jokes aside, Tyleek Williams, like this guy, defensive tackle, all arounder, got moves, got run stopping ability. Tyleek Williams, great pick here, national champion, was a playmaker during the playoffs, without a doubt, game wrecker. Tyleek Williams, great pick here by Detroit. They bolstered that defense, and that defense was solid last year. They would have been great. They didn't have injuries. They keep adding to that defense. That defense is going to be super scary this year, without a doubt. Now we go on to pick number 29, the Washington Commanders. They draft Josh Connerly Jr., offensive tackle from Oregon. Oregon was one of the best teams in the nation. If I'm not mistaken, they were number one, didn't lose until they got into the playoffs. So that's Oregon for you, led by Dylan Gabriel, a quarterback. He is the offensive tackle for that squad, high-powered offense. They beat Ohio State in that absolute thriller of the game earlier in the season. So, and I'm not too sure about the player myself because I haven't watched him too much. But what I will say is, love the pick by the Washington Commanders. You look at the pass rusher they're going to have to go up against in New York with Abdul Carter, Sexy Dexty, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, all those guys. Then you look at the Eagles, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter. Now we go look at the Cowboys. They got Micah Parsons, even Deshaun Overshawn, if I said that right. Or maybe it's DeMario Overshawn, forgot his name. But they got playmakers over there as well. I think it's going to be a great pick by the Washington Commanders. Help your young quarterback out, Jaden Daniels, while protect your future quarterback. He was terrific last year. Let's help him continue to be terrific. You don't want him to have that sophomore slump like C.J. Stroud has or had because the offensive line just can't protect him or anything like that. Keep this man, Jaden Daniels, standing up so he could continue to develop and improve. Great pick here by the Washington Commanders. Now we go on to the Buffalo Bills. They draft Maxwell Harrison, cornerback from Kentucky. Great pick here by the Bills. I think their problem is, I think they did just bring back Tre'Davious White, or Tre'Davious White. Damn, forgot his name too. Names are just slipping me right now. But cornerback that they drafted a while ago, a little bit older now, but I think they just brought him back. But I think they do need corners. Cause who's the rival? The Kansas City Chiefs. Where are the Chiefs right now? Rashee Rice coming back from injury and potential suspension, but he'll be back for the playoffs. They also have Marquise Brown, who they re-signed. They also have Xavier Worthy, who improved as the season went on. So those are three wide receivers right there that could cause fits come playoff time. Get you a corner that can at least stop one of them, slow them down. Then you could, use a corner and a safety on the other ones, whatever the case may be. Get you a shutdown corner. This guy could be it. Definitely got great makeup speed, terrific speed here, like the guy from Kentucky, Maxwell Harrison. He was dapping everybody up as they got announced. So he seems like a great energy type guy. Can't wait to see what he does in Buffalo. Now, my Philadelphia Eagles, we traded up with Kansas City to move up one spot. And we draft Jahad Campbell, linebacker from Alabama. So, Harry Roseman being the genius that he is, you can't let your opponents know your next move. Everybody thinking, on defense they go Georgia Bulldogs. On offense they go Alabama Roll Tide. We hit them with the Uno reverse. This time we take our Alabama defender, Jahad Campbell. Interesting pick here, but I'm not mad at it whatsoever because we got linebackers. Of course, Zach Bond, Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He's great there in the middle. Beside him, we got Nakobe Dean. And then once Dean got injured, we had Burks come in and replace him. Burks did really well. I thought we would just go out with that trio. But we bring in Campbell. I think Campbell will probably start over Burks right away and get to producing. So, Jahad Campbell, love this pick here. I expect for this guy to be all over the field, and we solidify our defense anymore. Cause I think our offense is just too loaded. So going defense here, I thought was a great pick because our defense is still great and stacked. and a lot of people saying historical defense and all that. I think our defense can even get better and better. Our offense we're kind of maxed out. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But final pick here, Kansas City Chiefs make it. The pick they just traded with us. It's a one pick swap thing, and then got a fifth rounder later in the draft this year. They go Josh Simmons here, so another Ohio State offensive lineman goes. Josh Simmons, another great pick, like I said, similar to the other Ohio State offensive lineman. You're blocking for that two-headed monster at running back and then a solid passing game as well. You're putting up a lot of points. You're national champions. What is there not to like about Ohio State? They got a lot of draft picks, players that got drafted this year. You expect for it to happen again. As I'm recording this, I'm not sure this man, Shedeur Sanders, has gotten drafted yet. If he has, I missed it. I looked up mid-recording and saw the Steelers were on the clock at 83, and they drafted Caleb Johnson. So Shedeur Sanders, I won't do a round 2 or round 3 video or a day 2, day 3 video, anything like that. Just round 1. Shedeur Sanders, let me know about that in the comment section down below. How surprised were you? Because I heard some reports about him not making it in the first round. Some people are predicting it and stuff, right? That's like their hot take. So I wasn't too surprised. Not being an early second pick, I'm like, whoa. And then I'm pretty sure he made out the whole entire second round. So I don't know what's going on there. That is a crazy shocker to me. When I saw Will Levis not get drafted a couple years ago, they made a whole big deal about it. I'm like, are you kidding me? What? I don't see it. But the Shedeur Sanders one, that one definitely is shocking in my opinion. Let me know what you guys thought about that in the comment section down below. But let me also know what you thought was the best or worst pick of the first round. There won't be a day 2 or day 3 video, so you guys are looking forward to that. I'm sorry to tell you that. But we will go back with another football video next Friday. So as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope to see you guys on the next one.